Good morning, prospective future ecomotive driver. Apologies if I don't make a lot of sense in this video, but it's first thing in the morning. It is 6 o'clock now, and I'm heading to get a bus. Today I have what is called a cold start, which means I don't have a carryover vehicle from yesterday because I've been off for a while. So I need to make my way to public transport and get to the first pickup of today. Today I'm getting two buses, one from where I live to Lichfield and then another one from Lichfield to Tamworth. I should be getting there at about 10-15 minutes before they open, and then going to give them the details for the car. They will give me the keys. I'll look for the car in the compound, do my checks, take my pictures, and then make my way with this car towards London, which is a 3.5 hour drive. The one most important thing that I would recommend is planning ahead. Always plan with a margin of error. A bus might be late, there might be some traffic, you might want to need to stop for a coffee, etc. So what I do is I always plan to get wherever I'm going, even either a private customer or a dealership, 10-15 minutes before. Worst case scenario, I'll get there at the time that they actually open. The most important thing is to, like I said, plan ahead. Take your time to look through the jobs that you have for the next day. Always make sure to call the customers the day before. If you do not call the customers and do not confirm, for example, let's say I need to pick up this car from a dealership from Fleet Services, so it's just a compound where people get the vehicles ready, they get them all nice and clear, the PDI check them, ready to be delivered to customers. If I wouldn't have called and I arrive there and I'm trying to get this car and it's not ready, or it's not there, which can happen, then that means I wouldn't be paid for the job. The public transport for that job wouldn't be paid. So you're messing up your day and you might end up worse. So plan ahead and call ahead always. Another very important thing is to always check the cars that you're picking up through, for example, the Vehicle Smart app on the App Store or Android. Always check the cars which are older than 3 years for a valid MOT. So you go on the Vehicle Smart app, simple, just input the reg number of the vehicle and check if it has a valid MOT. If it doesn't have a valid MOT, you will not be able to pick up that car. So what you need to do is you need to check the cars have valid MOT the day before you're going to pick them up. So for example, if yesterday my planner gave me the jobs for today, I would go into the model app, look at the reg numbers, see if there's any more than 3 years old, put it in the app, look for it, check for a valid MOT. Then I would call the customer, present myself, where I'm calling from, trade driver, and advise I'm picking up this vehicle, reg number XYZ. Can you confirm it's ready for pickup the next day? So like I said, one of the most important things is to always make sure that you plan ahead and that you call ahead to confirm your vehicles. Sometimes I've confirmed the vehicle being in a certain location, arrived there to pick it up, and the vehicle was not there. Now I did get paid for that job because they confirmed it was ready to be moved the next day, but it actually wasn't. What you need to do is to always make sure you get a name of the person that you talked with and confirmed it was there, so you can cover your own, you know what. And then again, you could have a voice recording app that records your phone calls. It depends up to you. make sure you don't delete your call history, recent calls and duration of calls that you have in your phone, in your dialer app, because if there's any issue or something like that, you say, for example, I don't know, James confirmed that car that is on site, James from Renault, and they actually turn around and say, oh, no, didn't. You can show the timestamps, the call duration, and so on and so forth, or the voice recording. And I never had to, just the one time, but I just mentioned that I have the recording, and then everything was sorted. So more about the day that I'm having today. It's about an hour and a half public transport time to my first pickup. So I should be there, like I said, 10-15 minutes before they open, which gives me time. A 3-hour-ish drive to London to the customer. I've already called the customer yesterday. I've advised him of a rough ETA when I'm getting to him, and as soon as I have the car, I'll text him. I'll see what Google Maps says in terms of ETA, estimated time for arrival, and I'll text him again to say, look, I'll be there 12 o'clock ish. Yeah, always make sure you call the customer the day before to let him know you're delivering. Text him on the day to let him know more precise time you're delivering. And it's very important. For example, this car that I'm delivering, the customer needs to be present, so the one which is specified on the delivery contact, for example, he's the person that needs to sign for it. So if it's Sean Connery that you're delivering to, it needs to be Sean Connery present at that address, and maybe with a form of ID. This will be specified in the app. Sometimes we just need to check his ID, just to, is this you in the ID, it's your name and all that, and the address. Sometimes we actually need to take a picture of the ID and of the person holding the ID next to their face. Everybody's okay with that. There's not really any issues. But if there are, they don't want to be in the picture, or they don't want to show you their ID, and so on and so forth, then you can always call your planner and see what they say. They will talk with the customer and advise you forward. Yeah, so after delivering this vehicle, I have another vehicle that I need to pick up and deliver the next day, tomorrow. And it's another about an hour and 20-30 minutes public transport to get there. I've already confirmed that vehicle as well. It's ready to be picked up, and then it's just to drive back home, parking it on the driveway, private driveway off the road, and then delivering it the next day. A bit of advice in regards to public transport, but this is what I do. I think what most people do, but in my opinion, as you know, we get paid the public transport back. The thing is, the less public transport you take, or the less it costs, the more money we as drivers earn at the end of that vehicle movement. So for example, if the job is £100 and you've spent £30 off on public transport, then it's £100 minus 30, so £70 left. Out of that, it gets split with Ecomotive, and we get our share. Now, what I try and do is I try and look at, for example, to eliminate the buses from my public transport as much as I can. So for example, some people take, delivering in London and other places like that, instead of taking 2 buses or whatnot to go for, I don't know, 3 miles or whatever, you could rent an electric scooter and drive that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you could actually be there faster than the bus, and buses might be late. There's also traffic. So that's what I try to do. I try to eliminate buses from my route. Sometimes, instead of taking a bus for 10-15 minutes ride and waiting for that bus for I don't know, maybe 10-15-20 minutes, so in total you would have 30 to 40 minutes travel time just for that bus. it actually might be faster for you to walk 18 minutes. It's healthy and keeps you fit, and at the end of the day you earn a bit more money. It's not much, but week by week by week it adds up. Another piece of advice, because I'm not sure exactly how I'm supposed to make these videos, is always make sure to remember to put in your expenses in the model app, the second tab from the left. Make sure you put the expense, make sure you put the picture of the receipt or the screenshot of the banking app that shows that money coming out if you paid contactless and they don't give you a receipt for whatever reason. Always make sure you put that in, because it has happened to me a few times. For example, I put in the expense as fuel, let's say 25-30 pounds, but I did not put in the picture of the receipts, which means I had to pay that money myself. So always make sure you put in the receipt for the for your expenses, your public transport expenses or fuel. It's very important that you have clear communication with your planner. Your planner knows what you need, when you need it, and so on and so forth. You keep him advised to whatever issues you have in due time. Let your planner know with as much notice as you can ahead of any days off that you need, of any special requests. And it's always good to have a clear conversation with the office, because in the end that helps you and that helps them. When you plan your day in the morning or the day before, and you're looking and you see, I got 2 hours of public transport to this place, and then I'm gonna get there at 8 o'clock. Do not assume that you'll be leaving that place at 8 o'clock, because you won't. Most places, actually all the places you get there, you will have to wait a certain period of time to get your vehicle. Waiting time is paid after the first hour. So although it rarely happened to me, when you get to a place to pick up a vehicle, you could be waiting for an hour and then getting the vehicle and then doing your checks and everything else and leaving. So take that into account when planning your day, in terms of, I'll get there at 8 and then I can deliver it at let's say it's 2 hours to the customer at 10. You won't, because you'll get there at 8, you get your car at 8:05, 8:10, 8:15, then it will take you 10, 15, 20 minutes depending on the weather, depending on the age of the car and condition. If there's more things to mark down on the app as defects and scratches, then it will take you just a tiny bit longer. But yeah, expect that you will wait a certain period of time to get your vehicle, and plan that into your daily planning. So what I do is for example, I get to this job now at 8, basically I'll be there just before they open. I expect to have 5 to 10 minutes to wait until somebody will actually give me the keys, I can get the car. So probably be gone from there at about 8:20, 8:25 at the latest, 8:30. But that's how I plan my day. So I know what can happen, worst case scenario, so I know how to plan my day. Do not always look for in regards to planning your day for just train from where you are, a train to the other city where that car is. Sometimes it might actually be cheaper to get a bus. You might actually have less changes. For example, to get that train, you could have 2 or 3 changes to get to the destination. With a bus, you could probably take 1 bus with longer ride by a few minutes, but it might actually be cheaper. These are things that you will learn throughout the time you do this, but each little thing that can help you and earn a bit of time and save a bit of money in the end actually helps us make more money, which is what everybody wants. If you're required to get a taxi to a certain place, then that taxi has to be approved by the office, and they will send you, you will let them know that you require a taxi, or I need to get a taxi because this will actually take too long and the place might be shut by the time I get there. So for example, some carryovers, which is the vehicle you carry over for the next day and you park it at your house, some carryovers, places where you pick up, they might close, for example, on a Friday early. Some places close 2:30, 3:30, 4, etc. So if you're running late for whatever reason, a train was delayed, a vehicle pickup took way too long for whatever reason, yeah, you need to speak with your planner, ask for permission. They'll give you a code. You can book that taxi, Uber, whatever, take a screenshot of that, write the code on that and put it on the model app for expenses, and you will get paid that money. And just in regards to what I was saying earlier about when picking up your carryover, make sure you know until what time they're open, especially on a Friday. On a Friday, a lot of places will close earlier. So you might be planning your day for that Friday as a normal day. I'll deliver this, I'll deliver my first car, then public transport to the second one, I'll deliver the second car, then public transport to my carryover, and I'll be there by 4. Well, on Friday, they might actually be closed at 3. So you need to call, so when you call the day before to confirm your vehicle's carryover, make sure that you ask, what time are you open until? Do you have a shorter day on Friday? They might actually be able to accommodate you and have somebody stay over, etc. You call them on the day, things will get sorted. If they can't do that, at times there are other drivers from Ecomotive which might be picking up from the same location, and they might be able to pull that car out of the compound for you, accessible for you, so you can pick it up even after they close. But again, that's something that you need to be aware of. Talk with your planner. Just make sure, if you have any questions and you're not sure about something, always ask your planner. If it's a bit more trivial, then you could ask on the WhatsApp training group. A lot of people will try and help, I think. What I would suggest in terms of driving is stick to the speed limit. A lot of people have been getting fines recently for going over the speed limit. First of all, that's something we don't want as drivers, not just as employees or working with Ecomotive. You don't want a speeding ticket. Second of all, if you get a speeding ticket, our customer will find out, puts Ecomotive and us in a bad position. I'm guessing we're getting too many speeding tickets. That could jeopardize your position in the company. Third of all, that I'm not sure of, is just my personal opinion. Another reason not to drive by the speed limit is that if you do get a speeding ticket, you get charged an admin fee by Ecomotive, which is some more money which you have lost just because you wanted to get there a little bit faster. In my experience, especially driving with the shorter jobs, which are, city to city and so on, you risk more than you earn by going over the speed limit. Plus minus 5 minutes, it's not the end of the day. You could make sure that when you have your training with Stuart or another person from Ecomotive, and you are at the office and you go through all the details and everything, make sure that you ask your training personnel to give you a short list of the people that live in your area. For example, if you live in Birmingham, they could tell you X, Y, and Z live rather close to you. You could take their numbers and save them, just so you could maybe help each other in the future. And obviously, if somebody lives close to you, for example, you have a call start like me today, they could actually help you with a ride towards your vehicle. You never know. You could, let's say, live in Birmingham and then you get to Worcester for your first vehicle of the day. instead of taking public transport 1 hour and a half, 2 hours to get there, you could ask on the training group or ask those persons directly and say, hey, is anybody going south? I need a ride towards that destination. And they might give you a hand. What I would suggest, when you can, give other drivers a hand, because it's nice and it really helps out. When picking up vehicles, remember to check the vehicles properly. Take your time, do not rush it. If there is a portion of that vehicle that you weren't able to check for whatever reason, so let's say the bus is here, please remember when checking a vehicle to take your time and make sure that you pay attention to details. If there is an area of the vehicle that you cannot check, for example, you're checking a van and it's a larger, bigger, taller van, and you can't check the roof for it, make sure that you make a little note on the app at the end saying could not check the roof. Because if there is a fault, and let's say there's a dent on top of that van on the roof, and you marked it as no faults, no damages, and you delivered that vehicle and there was a damage there, then you're liable. So yeah, make sure to check the vehicle properly, use light in your favor, look at it from different angles, look for the small dents. Again, you will learn this through time, but yeah, just take your time, look carefully. It's better to lose 2-3 more minutes to check a car properly than maybe lose out on some money because you didn't check it properly. Looks bad on us, looks bad for the customer. It's something to be aware of. In regards to delivering a vehicle to a private customer, which requires them to be at home at the address present and with an ID, like I said, always make sure when you call the day before and tell them you'll be delivering, make sure that you confirm, just to confirm, sir, are you going to be at 165 Birmingham Road at about 10 o'clock? That's when I'll be delivering, because I need you to be present with an ID. There have been a lot of times where the customer has been in contact with the dealership or etc. who sold them the car, and they've let them know that they won't be home and their wife will be. But Ecomotive wasn't aware of this, and if I wouldn't have asked, then I would have lost time while being at the customer, because I would have to call the planner, he would have to call our customer, double check, get approvals, this, that, and only then I could actually deliver the car. So it can be challenging if the person you need to deliver to, that is specified on the model app, is not present. Make sure that they will be present when you deliver it. This is a bit of a random one, but it's what I do. I have a dash cam, a spare one. So this dash cam, I always have it with me in my backpack, and whenever I get a vehicle to deliver, I install the dash cam in the vehicle. I don't believe Ecomotive actually mentions this to us. I know other companies do. It's more of a peace of mind for me, because God forbid something happens and you get involved in an accident, you have more power to you to prove that you were innocent. This helps out with all the insurance claims and everything. It's just to cover your back, really. Dash cams are dirt cheap. You can even take the one from your car at home, because obviously you won't be using it when you're at work. You can just swap them around. So yeah, dash cam is useful. I would suggest it. That's just my personal opinion. Another thing that I would suggest in terms of what you need to have with you, always make sure you're hydrated. In my backpack I keep a bottle of butter, coffee, and the obvious sweets. Another thing that I would suggest is to always make sure that you have some backup cables with you. So for example, if you have an iPhone and you have a cable with you, make sure that you have a spare cable for that iPhone, because that cable might break literally then and there, and then you can't charge your phone, your Google Maps doesn't work, maybe the car doesn't have a smart navigation system, or so on and so forth. Have a backup cable with you. I have cables 4 days in my backpack, USB-C to Lightning, normal USB-A to Lightning, USB-C to USB-C, and so on and so forth. It can help you. You never know. I've learned it the hard way, because I never used to have more than one or two with me, but you will maybe potentially need it. So I even have a wall plug. I have two spare external batteries, like, you know, backup batteries to charge my phone in case I don't have a plug or anything to plug it in. Yeah, so plan for the worst and never use it. Drinking and eating, they're not allowed in the vehicles. I wouldn't suggest it. It's up to you really if you want to risk it, but you have to be aware that, let's say you have a coffee from Costa or whatever, and you're delivering a new vehicle to a customer and it gets spilled. It never happened to me, but I guess it can happen, and obviously you won't be able to deliver that vehicle. You will probably lose out on some money, most definitely. I don't suggest drinking coffee or anything in the car. If it gets stained, not only you'll lose some money, but you will mess up your day as well, because that car won't be able to be delivered. You'll have to take it to a valet professional, something to get it clean. No, don't do it. It's not worth the risk. When and if you're delivering to London, make sure that you check the vehicle with the res and the discharge zones limitations. So if you need to pay for the congestion charge, make sure you pay it so you don't get a fine. Make sure you put any toll roads like the Dartford crossing or anything else on your expenses. If you don't get paid. Hello again. Bit more alive now because it's not so early in the morning. I have delivered my first car, and I've taken the public transport from London towards Romford. I'm do an 18-minute walk now instead of waiting for a bus for another 15, and once arriving there I'll be doing my checks on the vehicle. I'll be taking the pictures, take lots of pictures, take as many pictures as you can. The app only tells you to take 5, just take 10, 15, 20, just to show that everything is as it was, as you write it down. I usually take the doors, the seats, the dash console, the rims, the wheels, you know. Yeah, that's my advice. So after picking up this vehicle now, I'll be going home. It's a short day, inverted commas, it's not really, but it's a shorter day than others. Heading home, parking up in the driveway. When getting home with your carryover, make sure you go into the park over. There's Stuart will tell you about it. There's an option in the app where you can actually park the car. So you select that you arrived home, you tap in home, then you put in the miles, and that's it. And all that will also disable the location tracking for the vehicles that have location tracking enabled. Yeah, so basically I think that's about it from me. I don't know what else I could chip in, but yeah, if you want to do this job, this is what it's all about, pretty much. Not rocket science, just planning ahead, driving safe. That's about it. And have a good day, guys.